What is up, Pop Squad? Welcome to the first episode of what we're calling Funko's Land. We're going to give you a little retrospecticus on certain pops that we have in our collection, things that we want to take a little deeper dive into.
Yes, and we've actually been wanting to do this for a while, and there's no better one to start on one of our favorite Pokemon and the first Pokemon in the National Pokemon Dex. Really happy to have this Bulbasaur, and we thought nothing better than to start off with something like this. And Andrew, this just came out, the other day, right?
Yeah, it was February 27th, Pokemon Day, and we're super excited to have Bulbasaur and just Pokemon in general. Last year, Pikachu came out, and we were just super excited for the possibilities of all the different Pokemon they could do.
Yeah, and we're definitely expecting a lot, but really we need to get into this and give you the background information.
So, being that it was the 20th anniversary, they decided to create a holiday for Pokemon Day. It is commemorating the 20th anniversary of the release of the original games, which came out February 27th, 1996. So they went ahead and created this holiday for it. So every year they now do this Pokemon Day, which is a special day of just Pokemon, which is pretty nice to have considering what is going on.
Yeah, just the phenomenon of Pokemon. Pokemon Day is probably up there right next to Christmas Day and 4th of July for me in terms of holidays. But yeah, Pokemon Day is a great idea because the Nintendo and Game Freak do a lot of different releases. And I know in the past couple of years they've done like special plushes, like obviously they came out with this year Bulbasaur, the Funko Pop.
Yeah, and then they showed the Generation 8 Pokemon game that's coming out. So it's pretty cool, and they went through a lot of stuff. But let's get into actually talking about Bulbasaur. So Bulbasaur is the bulb dinosaur. When the games came over to the US from Japan, they made the names very punny so that you could actually see the Pokemon and know what their names are, or you feel like, oh, that makes sense. Bulb dinosaur. It's pretty much dinosaur with a bulb on its back. Then you see other Pokemon who also have that.
Yeah, you see that
idea
throughout all the generations, but especially in the first one, a lot of just a first grader could see like a Pokemon and be able to figure it out because like Squirtle is a squirting turtle.
Yeah, so it makes sense. It's really cool that they did that.
Bulbasaur is, like we said, was the first Pokemon in the national Pokemon Dex, but people argue all the time: is he actually the first Pokemon? Because there are three other Pokemon who are also claiming that.
Yeah, so Rhydon was actually the first designed Pokemon, and you can actually see that, and a lot of people actually talk about how that was the first designed Pokemon. Arceus is supposed to be the god of Pokemon, so literally the first the first Pokemon that created everything, and then you have Mew.
Yeah, in the lore and in I believe in his Pokedex entry, they say that all Pokemon were deviate from Mew.
Yeah, so it's
cloned from.
So it's pretty cool to think about that. So that's what the argument's about. Which Pokemon is first, who's number one, really. So there's a lot of information on that. So it's cool to think about, depending on where you're looking from in the tree of life for that. But the game came out, as we said before, February 27th, 1996. Great idea, very easy to pick up on, and they also had some elements in the game that were pretty cool and pretty easy to pick up on.
Right, so the whole basis of the fighting system in Pokemon is basically rock, paper, scissors. You're going to be strong against some things, weak against others.
Yeah, in this case, they did that with the starters. You had Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. Grass is weak against fire, fire is weak against water, water is weak against grass, and it's just a cycle. So with that, they went on, and that was kind of how they designed the game. You had a weakness, you had a strength, you had things that you were neutral against, and they had that with this. And I just wanted to go off, and say it wasn't a favorite for a lot of people, but Bulbasaur was my very first starter, and I'm happy to say that.
Mine was Squirtle. I bought the blue version. Well, I got it for Christmas that year in 1998, and I was like, might as well pick the one on the cover.
That's not a bad idea. Getting into Bulbasaur has two evolutions. Evolves into Ivysaur, and then Ivysaur evolves into Venusaur. Venusaur is a tank of a Pokemon, lots of HP. That's what it's known for, and that's exactly how you would want to play it. Solar Beam was a great move, but it took 2 turns, so it's you've got to be smart about it. But definitely awesome Pokemon. I think just the Gen 1 Pokemon in general are great, but especially because Bulbasaur was in it.
Yeah, a lot of people hate the fact that so much of the Pokemon merchandise is revolved around the Generation 1 starters and just that whole 151 in general. But without, obviously, the first generation and that whole Pokemon phenomenon, you wouldn't have Gen 8 now.
Yeah, very true. Getting to more information on Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur was actually the first starter that Ash owns in the anime.
Yeah, he originally started off, if you never watched the anime, one, what's wrong with you? But he got a Pikachu as his first Pokemon from Professor Oak, which, no one ever does because you're supposed to get these 3 guys. But, to coincide with the games more and the cards, they had him find, a Bulbasaur, Charmander, and a Squirtle, and Bulbasaur was the first one he got in the anime.
Yeah, Bulbasaur was actually in Bulbasaur in the Hidden Village. It is the 10th episode of the anime series, and in that episode, Bulbasaur is a Pokemon that's protecting this village. The village is actually just a house with a caretaker, and these Pokemon are either abandoned or injured.
Right, so then, not going to explain the entire episode here, but Ash, develops a relationship with Bulbasaur, and Bulbasaur feels like, oh, I could go on and grow more going with this guy, training with him.
Yeah, so then Ash ends up actually with taking Bulbasaur, and he ends up being the second longest Pokemon that Ash has. Currently still has him if you watch the anime. Right behind Pikachu. So, it's Pikachu and then Bulbasaur. Caterpie what actually came first, but wasn't with him because he gave it away as Butterfree. But that's enough on that. Bulbasaur also came in the manga. In the manga, he appears in the arc with the Tree of Life, where there are actually Bulbasaurs, Ivysaurs, and Venusaurs around this tree that essentially causes them to mate. If you really read into it, it's pretty much like a mating ground for them, and that's where Ash actually sees Bulbasaur for the first time in the manga series.
Bulbasaur has a lot of great memories with Ash, and he's developed a lot of great memories with people who have played these games, played the card games, that watch the shows. He's, like you said, one of millions of people's first Pokemon.
Bulbasaur made a lot of appearances in the manga, in the anime, and obviously in the video game, and we're happy to have this Bulbasaur pop.
So you can see Bulbasaur here. It looks really good. There were things that people have mentioned that they could have changed for it, but let's actually get into what we love about it. It's perfect because it has the actual different color pigmentation of Bulbasaur, which is really cool. The bulb on it you can see is actually really good. You're gonna have to see a closer look. And then he has this little snark on his face with his mouth slightly open. Really cute, and I think I like this better than the Pikachu that came out before.
Right, I think the Pikachu head and body, I don't know, proportions just looked weird on him. Mm-hmm. Bulbasaur looks
much better.
I think it looks amazing in comparison. I know, when Funko was showing off the pictures and stuff, I was getting pretty excited for it.
Yeah.
And then, when we've actually taken it out and had a chance to look at it,
it's good.
Ecstatic.
It's really good, and it's awesome that they're doing this. We're really excited, like we said before, all the Pokemon that they're going to come out with, Charmander, Squirtle, leaks of Mewtwo, which we're going to see.
Right.
But Bulbasaur, they did it, almost perfect. The only thing that, and we agree with what people have said online, they could have just had his eyes red. But it's not that big of a deal. The pop still looks awesome, still looks great. My favorite part, honestly, about this pop is the actual bulb.
Yeah,
the bulb looks great. It looks like it could glow in the dark.
Yeah, it looks like a different shade. It looks like hollowish.
Yeah.
So I think it would have been cool, or maybe they'll do it in the future. You have it be able to glow in the dark, and you call it Solar Beam Bulbasaur or something like that.
That would have to be really cool. Glow in the dark, or even make it when it glows in the dark, it's a yellowish color, so that it looks like it's actually taking in that Solar Beam.
Yeah,
that'd be a good idea. Or as Andrew was talking to me about. People were saying they should do the shinies, which I think would be way too much.
Right.
Although it's cool, but I mean, I think it's just another avenue for them to go down. The pop is awesome. You can see we even have the card here in the case. Just to show it off, we'll give a little extra.
All the transmedia that Pokemon has taken over.
Throw it all
cards,
together.
Movies, TV.
This has done so much for us. We're really happy that Funko's done this, and we're excited for what's coming next. But that is going to do it for us. This was the first episode of Funko's Land, the series we're going to continue to do on specific pops we think warranted in our collection that we're really excited about. This is the first one. There's going to be many more, and we're happy to give you that information.
Yeah, and we know that they probably won't do every Pokemon. I mean, I feel like they'd have to, stop production of everything else just to do all the Pokemon. But we figure that it'll probably be like the starters, the legendaries.
Yeah. Maybe
another one here or two there, but we are excited to see Bulbasaur and can't wait for what Pokemon to come in the future.
Yep. So excited that we did this for you, and that is going to be it for us, guys. As always, leave a comment down below or above. I still don't know why we say that, but you can do, however you're watching it.
Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Let us know who your favorite Pokemon is. Let us know what you're expecting to see. There is mention of this Mewtwo chase. Please let us know what kind of chase you think it's going to be. Is it going to be from X or Y? Is it going to be Dark Mewtwo? Is it going to be... They have a ton of things that it could be. But, we're excited to see. It could be the Weapon X Mewtwo from the anime series. We'll see. But that's going to do it for us. And as always,
happy hunting.